Okay, this is part two of tests of significance, and today we're going to discuss about getting our null and alternative hypotheses. Okay, these are your problems from last week. This is problem 10.27 and 10.28. Here are your solutions if you need those. Okay, so more details about stating hypothesis. State a claim that we're trying to have evidence against. So you've got some value and you think that perhaps it's either higher or lower, or you're not sure. And so we're just trying to find out what's the probability of getting some value that is higher or lower. The null hypothesis is the one that we are trying to gather evidence against. The test of significance is designed to find evidence that the null hypothesis is false. Well, we might find it false, but how strong is the evidence against it? We'll discuss that also. Usually it's a statement of no effect or no difference. That's how we state the null hypothesis. Sometimes it's that a value, that the mean is equal to that value, and we always use mu, okay, is equal to that value, or if we're subtracting a pre and a post, that perhaps there is no difference between the pre or the post experiment or the evaluations that we do. The alternative hypothesis, and it's called H sub A or H alternative, is what we're trying to find evidence for. The alternative hypothesis can be one or two-sided. So maybe we suspect that the evidence is that our actual mean is greater than the value that's presented, or it's less than, or perhaps it's just different and we're not quite sure which direction it goes in. One-sided means that mu is greater than a certain value, or mu is less than a certain value. And if it's two-sided, it means that our H alternative, that it's not equal to that specified value. Okay, we talked earlier about our tasting sample, about the colas, and it was a one-sided test because they were testing the sweetness, and that anytime that there was a loss of sweetness, it was a positive number, although there was a negative number in our set of values. But we were looking to see if there was something greater than zero. Zero is that it was as sweet the day that we tasted it as it was the day that it was packaged. And a loss would be a positive number. How many points? Okay, the example on page 565 and 566 is about two job levels of satisfaction, and they're looking for a difference. So they're not really sure if it's higher or lower, so our H alternative would have to be not equal to. And when we see the word difference in a problem, it usually means it's two-sided and that it's not equal to. Here is the problem. And in this particular problem, I'll let you read this. You can put me on pause while you read it. But in the end, we find out that there is no difference, or we're assuming that there is no difference. Our null hypothesis says that mu, there is no difference between the amount of job satisfaction between a self-paced work and a machine-paced work. And the authors didn't know whether they should have it higher or lower. And so they're going to say that it's just different and it's not equal to zero, that there is some change out there other than zero. Setting up your hypothesis. It's often easier to state the alternative hypothesis before the null. It kind of guides you a little bit. It's kind of like stating your parameter before you do your population. H naught then follows as the other case. As always, write the alternatives in terms of the population parameters, not outcomes. So we're always using mu. We're not using x bar. When we do proportions later on, we're going to be doing p and not p hat. So you have to remember that. We set up the alternative hypothesis based on the inequality we're looking for, greater than, less than. A lot of times it's identified in the problem, but sometimes we really have to pay very close attention to the problem to determine whether it's a one-sided or two-sided and which way our inequality is going. Has it increased, decreased, or we just don't care and we'll do a two-sided. If we don't have a particular direction in mind, we use the two-sided test. Our hypothesis for the taste test was one-sided because we knew that the sodas could only lose sweetness for most of the people that were tasting it and not gain. So we had some positive value that we're looking for, so we thought that it was something other than zero and it was greater than zero. So our alternative hypothesis was mu was greater than zero. The job satisfaction was two-sided because we didn't really care which one was preferred, only there was a difference between the self-paced and the machine-paced work. And sometimes it's not easy to tell. You have to reread the problem several times and underline and pick out those specific words. And it is cheating to look at the data before setting up your H alternative. And your assignments are 10.29 through 3.2 on page 567. If you have any questions, please review this. The solutions to the assignments follow. Please do not look at them until you've given them a try. And if you have any questions, contact me later. Thank you.